Hello everyone, thanks everyone tuning into Sims Workshop. I hope you're all having a wonderful day. So, today we're going to be reviewing The Devils by Joe Abercrombie. This is a book that I strongly feel that you are either going to love it or you hate it. And if you love it, you're going to have some hesitancies about it. I read this book for the Fantasy Finance Book Club at Barnes & Noble in Fort Lauderdale. I really wanted to read it. I enjoyed it. However, I understand why many people did not. I think it is a really good novel. This is my first introduction into Joe Abercrombie. I do like Grimdark fantasy. I think for me, the biggest problem was in the beginning, it felt like I was getting introduced into every character just like that, right? So I didn't really get a chance to like attach myself to them. And normally that's not really a problem. I've read fantasies like that a lot where the author just kind of brief introduces you into every single character. And then from that point on, then you grow the attachment to them. I've read fantasies like that many times. I feel like it's just like a norm when it comes to anything that's considered or in the line of an epic fantasy. But in this case with this novel, I think the reason it didn't work was because the writing style was a little dense, in my opinion. I struggled. Maybe it was reader's fatigue, maybe I just wasn't feeling it, but I struggled that first quarter to really get into the book. So I did start audio booking it. Audiobook was so much better. I think I would go back, back and forth just so that I could stay on track and, read it on time or by the time the meeting came around. So I would like physically read it and then I'd audiobook it when I wasn't able to physically read it, like when I'm cooking or cleaning, doing household chores. I really did enjoy the audio book, and I think reading in that way helped me because it felt less dense. It was very verbose, as one of my book club members said. And you know what? That really was a really good word for it, verbose. There's a lot of verbiage happening. Again, I read epic fantasies. I'm not afraid of words. I love the chunkier, the better, in my opinion. I love a good chunky book. But I also am a fan of saying less is more. And I think it was just superfluous. I think it still could have been a long book, but I think even if Abercrombie had cut 3 words from every line in the book, even my friend who gave it 5 stars just like, no, you're right, it was a little too long. They definitely could have cut like 100 pages. I think with that being said, it would have been more impactful because it was just... It felt very dry and very dense at times, so it did struggle to hold my attention, which is really unfortunate because I really wanted to read this book. I love epic fantasies. I love grimdark fantasies. I used to read those a lot back in the day. I haven't read one, and maybe that's part of the problem. I haven't read a grimdark fantasy in years. So, tastes change and whatnot and so forth. So maybe that is part of, my problem and why I didn't love it. I liked it, but I didn't love it. It just felt too dry and too dense. So it wasn't able to hold my attention. And I think that's why I like the audiobook so much, because the production of the audiobook, you get to really hear the inflection of the characters. You get to hear that humor, because it was funny. And I think that's the saving grace for this book. That because I was like hearing the characters on the audiobook, when I would go back to reading it, I could already hear their voices and the banter and the humor. So it made it more enjoyable to me. And the audiobook, I think, is fantastic because it really does highlight the humor that is in the book without it sounding dry or dense or too verbose. And I love the humor of the book itself. I think it's great. I think the cast of characters is great. Sunny is a charm. She needs to be protected at all costs. Lots of character growth, especially in Alex. Brother Diaz as well. Him and Viga. Ooh, I love Viga. Again, the characters are memorable. The characters are funny. I just think the story itself dragged the whole ship scene. Everyone agreed. Even the people who gave it 5 stars were just like, I completely even forgot the ship scene even existed. Other people said, yeah, the book could have done without it. And I think another reason why people struggled, and this wasn't a struggle for me, is it kind of just went from one situation to another. And someone said, and I was just like, oh my god, yes. It very much reads like a D&D campaign, and 100% it does. And I love D&D, and that's probably another reason why I enjoyed this book, because it reads... Dragonlance, for example, you don't get a break. You don't get a break. There are only short rests, no long rest, right? In Dragonlance, it's one situation after another. It just keeps on going. It keeps on going, right? And in this book, that's what happens with the Devils. It just keeps on going, except the momentum is lost by how dense and dry the storytelling is at times outside of the dialogue and witty banter and humor between the characters, right? It's kind of lost that momentum that otherwise would keep the story going, because these guys, they're rolling nat ones throughout the entire book. My favorite one is when Balthasar summons the demon. That scene is hilarious. Like, yes, I'll do whatever you want. Just give me your soul. And he's like, okay, great. This is what I want. She's like, anything but that, sorry. And it's just like, you rolled a nat one for your persuasion. Sorry, not sorry. So if you like D&D, I think this is really a book that you're going to enjoy. And that's probably another reason why I enjoyed it. I couldn't love it, though, because it just felt very dry, very dense. And I really couldn't, just lose myself in the physical book as much as I wanted to. Because I did like it. The humor is there. I'm excited for book 2. I just think it was too dry and too dense. And that was what hindered me from truly loving it. Because it felt like it dragged at times. And I wanted to keep that momentum going throughout. It's a fun book, you know? It really is fun. You just kind of lose some of that fun when you think about how dry and dense it is at times. So I do highly recommend, if you read it and didn't like it, I do highly recommend going back and just getting the audiobook for it. I 100% think you will enjoy it so much better. So much. The ending did upset me, though. But that's because I love the characters so much. So I'm like, damn it! I just wanted them to be happy. So, a solid 4-star book, honestly. So thank you all for tuning in. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share with all your book reading friends. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and as always, happy reading.